Salutation. Welcome back. If you have even left at all, unless this is one of those playlist things for you or something. We're doing the Hierophant today. I need a sandwich really badly. I don't know about you. Now, my last recording fucked up somehow. I don't actually know what happened. Get all the way to the end, everything looks fine, and then it just won't fucking load. So, we're gonna do this again. Alright. I guess the other one was shit. This one's just gonna have to be better. Key 5. The Hierophant, Chapter 9 of Paul Foster Case's The Tarot, a key to the wisdom of the ages. Vav, V-U-W, value 6, means nail or hook, something to join the parts of a building together. Therefore associative, like gemel, also something to support hanging objects. Therefore something on which other things depend. A nail is a fastening, a link, a means of union. As a means of support, it is linked in thought and language with such ideas as aid, assistance, sustenance, furtherance, and ministry. It will be seen presently that these ideas are not only directly connected with the occult meanings of Vav, but also with the symbolism of the Hierophant. In Hebrew, the letter Vav is the equivalent of the English and. Thus, the grammatical use of the letter is derived directly from its literal meaning. The conjunction and links together a series of nouns describing various objects, as apples and pears and lemons. It also introduces dependent clauses in a sentence. In Hebrew, the letter Vav is used in precisely the same way. Thus, like a nail, it binds the parts of a sentence together, and clauses or phrases introduced by it hang from it, like pictures supported by hooks driven into a wall. Now, the central thought here is union. And this is the exact English translation of the Sanskrit noun yoga. Makes sense. The same Sanskrit noun is the root of our word yoke. And some authorities are of the opinion that the original hieroglyphic symbol for Vav was a picture of a yoke such as is used for harnessing oxen. Yoga is a system of practice whereby the personal consciousness is linked to the universal conscious energy. Its object is direct, first-hand experience of those phases of reality which are the basis of all religions. It is the underpinning, the glove inside, the hand inside of the glove. It is the wave. The founders of religions are persons who have such experiences, if you say so. And the contention of practical occultists is that this kind of experience may be repeated whenever the right conditions are provided. It is not a capricious gift from on high. It is not miraculous. Rare though it may be, it but is a perfectly natural and human being. Whoa, it is, rare it may be, but it is perfectly natural. And a human being who addresses himself earnestly to preparing himself for this kind of experience will find what he seeks. We shall find presently that the Hierophant in tarot is a symbol of the mode of conscious activity which takes form in such experiences. Hearing, which unites man to man by speech and man to God by the word of the inner voice, is the sense attributed to Vav. Jesus often said, "He that hath ears to hear, let him hear." This is a technical formula of ageless wisdom. Here I want to point out something interesting. If I ask you to say a word and I count down from 3, and then you say it. But I don't want you to physically use your body to say it. I want you to say it in your head. At the moment of speaking it inside with your inner voice, what on earth heard it? You made no noise, right? Ha! This is, in my mind, some sort of empirical proof in the form of a thought experiment that the phenomenon of personal experience does not actually occur with your senses. It's more like your method of making things clearer or something. Just more fun, I guess. It refers to the development of the inner sense of hearing, just mentioned. In Sanskrit, the noun skruti, literally hearing, is the term for revelation. It alone can remove that nescience which is innate in human nature, says one ancient book. Which book? Similarly, the prophets of Israel declare again and again, "Thus saith the Lord," as if they were reporting things heard. 2 of them, Samuel and Elijah, were directly aware of the divine presence as a voice. What was true then is true now. Knowledge of the higher aspects of reality comes to us through the soundless sound of an inner voice, which often speaks as plainly as any voice heard with the physical ear. The reason is that the hearing centers in the brain are stimulated by higher rates of vibration, which serve as means of communication between ourselves and more advanced thinkers. Many persons have flashes of this experience, and our recognition that this is so is expressed by the oft-repeated statement, "Something seemed to say to me." Triumphant and eternal intelligence is the name of the mode of consciousness corresponding to Vav. It is triumphant because it gives assurance of the ultimate victory, of the life power over all apparent obstacles now seeming to stand in the way of the completion of the great work. It is eternal because it not only carries with it a positive conviction of immortality, lifting personal consciousness out of the limitations of time into the realization of the freedom of eternity, but also because the revelations of the inner voice enable us to solve particular problems by applying principles which, as soon as we perceive them, we recognize as being true, yesterday, today, and forever. Taurus, the bull, a fixed earthly sign, is attributed to Vav. It is ruled by the planet Venus, key 3, the Empress, and is the sign of exaltation of the moon, key 2, the High Priestess. The name of the sign itself shows a secret correspondence with the higher spiritual things, and with superconsciousness, inasmuch as Aleph, the bull, is the letter corresponding to Raush, the life breath, pictured in Tarot by the Fool. The voice of the Hierophant gives verbal form to the vision of the Fool. Revelation, key 5, is the communication of the transcendent knowledge of superconsciousness, insofar as that knowledge can be put into words. Astrologically, too, the sign Taurus is representative of latent powers and energies, of secretiveness and reserve. Ideas clearly suggested by the title and symbolism of the Hierophant. Furthermore, Taurus rules the neck, which is the link between head and body, and in the neck is located a psychic center dominated by the Venus vibration. The exaltation of the moon in Taurus indicates that the power of subconsciousness, especially the powers of memory and of recollection, have their highest manifestation in the mental activities pictured by key 5. In our color scale, Taurus is red-orange. Its musical tone is C-sharp or D-flat. Southeast, the direction attributed to Vav, is represented on the cube of space by the vertical line connecting the lower southeast corner with the upper southeast corner. This edge of the cube is also the line along which the southern and eastern faces of the cube are conjoined. In tarot, south is related to key 19, the sun, and east is related to key 3, the empress. Here is suggested a blending of solar and Venusian qualities. The sun is a great center of what Hindus call prana. You get life breath from the sun. Oh my god. Who would have thought? No, but seriously though, I want you to try this at home. Next time you get outside, and there's actually sun out there, not a chemtrail blocking everything. I want you to grab up some of them delicious photons and try to put them in your solar plexus, your third chakra, which would correspond in the tree of life to excuse me, the sixth Sephiroth, beauty. That was like the most unbeautiful way of saying it. I have to apologize to Kabbalists now for that one. My goodness. Where was I? The Venusian vibration is that which manifests in mental imagery. Occultly, the blending of these two vibrations is the mingling of the universal conscious energy with the imaginative, generative powers of subconsciousness. In the activity symbolized by the Hierophant, these two phases of the life power are combined. Hierophant means revealer of sacred things. It was the name of the chief officer of the Eleusinian Mysteries. I'm not sure how to pronounce this one. Look this one up. Eleusinian Mysteries, and signifies that which makes known the hidden import of the appearances whereby we are surrounded. In many versions of tarot, this key is named the Pope, but Dr. Waite rightly says that this is a particular application of the more general office that he symbolizes. On the other hand, Pope really means father, and when we consider the relation of key 5 to the Kabbalistic tree of life, we notice that the path of Vav is the one which begins in wisdom, the second Sephirah, and descends to Mercury, the fourth Sephirah. See diagram of the tree of life at the end of this book. Or, and this subbase right here, because I paid good money for it. Look at that beauty. Yes, notice how the color scheme works too. I think it's cool. I'm sure you can come up with another one. Yeah. Gosh. Thus, since the Sephirah wisdom is also known as Ab, the Father, it becomes evident that the Hierophant is an expression of that Sephirah's outflowing energy. It is not altogether misnamed when it is called the Pope. We do not agree with Dr. Waite that the Hierophant is the ruling power of external religion, exoteric orthodox doctrine, the outer side of the life which leads to the doctrine. On the contrary, he is the Pontifex, the bridge maker, who provides a connecting link between outer experience and interior illumination. Excuse me, I have to say this joke, but Mentos is the fresh maker, not the bridge maker. Okay, Hierophant Mentos. Fresh maker, bridge maker. He sits on a throne between two stone pillars. These and the throne, together with the background, are gray, a color associated with wisdom. Because gray is the tint resulting from equal mixture of any two complementary colors, since color complements are also opposites, gray stands for the perfect balance of all pairs of opposites. And this is the practical aspect of wisdom, the second Sephirah. Thus, the gray background of key 5 affords a very definite clue to the position of this key on the tree of life. Since in colored representations of the tree, the second Sephirah is painted gray. Woo! Excuse me. The design on the capitals of the pillars is a phallic symbol of union. The pillars themselves repeat the motif of duality and suggest the laws of association represented by the pillars of the high priestess. There is no high priest card. That'd be weird. The throne is also of stone, and the word stone has a very special meaning in the Bible and in the Kabbalah. In Hebrew, stone is ABN, or Eben. The first two letters of this word, Aleph and Beth, are the letters of the noun Ab, meaning father, and this is one of the Kabbalistic names for the second Sephirah. The last two letters, Beth and Nun, spell the word Ben, meaning son. And this is the Kabbalistic name for the sixth Sephiroth, beauty, which, as you can see from the diagram of the Tree of Life, is the central point and, so to say, pivot of that diagram. Thus, in the word Eben, as Kabbalists say, the names of the Father and the Son, of wisdom and beauty, are conjoined. And this is the main reason for the many symbolic uses of the word stone throughout the scriptures. At the back of the throne, on either side of the Hierophant's head, are the two horned circles representing the sign Taurus. The same Taurus symbol is shown also on the throne behind the Hierophant in the Rite of Pack, but it is drawn in such a way that few persons unacquainted with the occult meanings of Vav would be likely to notice it. This partial concealment may have been due to the fact that Dr. Waite seems to have been somewhat concerned lest he should expose the deeper occult significance of tarot to any but initiated students. The crown is a triple tiara, like the Pope's crown. It is of gold, symbolizing radiant energy and wisdom. It is ornamented with 3 rows of trefolds, top row 3, middle row 5, bottom row 7. In the Rider Pack, the middle row has 7, and the bottom row has 5. The total number is 15. The numeral value of the Hebrew divine name IH, or Jah. This name is that associated by Kabbalists with the second Sephirah, and affords another clue to the attribution of key 5 to the path joining the second Sephirah to the fourth. Since any trefold represents the number 3, 15 of them stands for 3 times 15, or 45, number of the name of Adam. Here is a reference to the Kabbalistic doctrine that man, or Adam, is God's image of himself, that the primary thought and mind of God prior to all manifestation must be God's awareness of his own nature and powers, and that this awareness is the true image of God, designated by the name Adam. The 3 trefolds in the upper row designate the threefold nature of the life power. The 5 in the second row represent the 5 modes of manifestation, the quintessence, and the 4 elements, or the 5 tattvas of Hindu philosophy, which are the subtle principles of sensation. The 7 in the bottom row correspond to the 7 spirits of God, to the 7 sacred planets, to the 7 alchemical metals, and to the 7 chakras, or interior stars, of the yoga schools. Here we have also the 3 principles of the alchemists, their 5 modes of the manifestation of the one thing, and their 7 so-called metals. In the Rider Pack, the tiara is surmounted by a black W, indicating the correspondence of key 5 to the letter Vav. In the Builders of the Adytum version, the ornament at the top of the crown is a small sphere, symbolizing the archetypal world. Below it, the 3 rows of trefolds in descending order symbolize the creative, formative, and material worlds. The outer robe of the Hierophant is red-orange, the color corresponding to Taurus. It has for trimming a border of blue-green, complementary to red-orange, and corresponding to the sign Scorpio, the sign opposite and complementary to Taurus. At the neck, this outer garment is caught with a clasp in the form of a silver crescent. This is a symbol of the moon, which is exalted in Taurus. Its position at the Hierophant's throat is a reminder that Taurus rules that part of the human body. Under this red-orange robe, the Hierophant wears a garment of blue, like that of the High Priestess, and having the same meaning. Under this is a white garment, like that of the Fool, and having the same significance. The crosses on the Hierophant's white shoes refer to the union of male and female, positive and negative forces, and to the order which results from that union. Similar crosses are shown on the backs of his hands, on the carpet under his feet, and on the handles of the crossed keys. These 10 crosses repeat the symbolism of the 10 circular ornaments on the outer garment of the Fool. Hanging from the crown behind the ears of the Hierophant is an ornament in the form of a yoke. This refers to the primitive meaning of the letter Vav. It falls. It falls behind the Hierophant's ears to call attention to these organs of hearing. In his left hand, the Hierophant holds a yellow or golden staff. It symbolizes the dominion of the life power through the planes of nature, represented by the knob at the top, with 3 crossbars below it. Later has 1 T. I don't understand. These latter correspond in meaning to the 3 rows of trefolds. Oh, I see, in the lateral fashion. So over the creative, formative, and material worlds. These latter correspond in meaning to the 3 rows of trefolds on the tiara, and the knob at the top of the staff corresponds to the circular ornament at the top of the crown. Whoa, what? Did I just read the same sentence? These correspond in meaning to the 3 rows of trefolds on the tiara, and the knob at the top of the staff corresponds to the circular ornament at the top of the crown. The scepter is yellow or golden, to show that the power exerted in the Hierophant's dominion is the power of the universal radiant energy. Who do you speak for? God. Well, damn, that's... Whew, okay. The crossed keys at the Hierophant's feet are the familiar symbols of the power of the papacy, yet they have a deeper meaning. One is silver, the other golden. They stand for the solar and lunar currents of radiant energy, which, as nerve currents in the human body, are utilized as keys to open the inner doors leading to higher modes of awareness. The golden key is the key of heaven, wherein the sun is ruler. The silver key... God damn. The silver key is associated with hell because of the correspondence between the moon and Hecate, whom the Greeks worshipped as a deity of the underworld. Thus the silver key relates to the powers of subconsciousness, and the golden key represents the powers of superconsciousness. Mr. Carl Jung once said, apparently, I might misquote this a little bit, that people do not see God because they do not look low enough. You must have a solid foundation if you are to build any sort of perception temple with which to use on a daily basis to get around, even so much as make tea in the morning. Which I don't do. I have tea later in the day. Much to my chagrin, I want tea all the time. If I could just have a constant supply of snacks and tea, I would be very pleased. The square dais suggests the number 4, symbol of order and measurement, as if to suggest that, however far beyond our present experience of the higher consciousness may go, it rests on a solid basis of fact and reason. The dais is covered with a red-orange carpet corresponding by this color to Taurus. The 4 circles on it enclose crosses, the Venus symbol folded in upon itself. They represent the manifestation of IHVH in the 4 worlds. Black and white checkerwork at the edges of the carpet remind us of the Masonic mosaic pavement, which represents the alteration of light and darkness in the manifestation of the life power. And I think it's also a Saturn reference of some sort. Ask David Icke about that one. He has a whole video about Saturn, and he goes off the rails. The priests kneeling before the Hierophant wear robes which repeat the motif of the flowers in the magician's garden. The robes are ornamented with yellow palliums, symbols of the yoke or union. These are yellow because the yoke is that of Mercury, or intellectual perception. The priest who wears lilies personifies thought, the other represents desire. Their attitude of attentive listening refers to hearing. The number of this key, as you have learned, is that of law, of adaptation, of religion, and of man. Psychologically, the Hierophant represents intuition, which follows reasoning and adds to it. Intuition is subconscious response to reason, whereby, through laws of association at work below the conscious level, thought relations which go beyond the results attained by reason are attained. Usually, these are perceived by interior hearing. Intuition, it should be noted, means literally inner tuition. So, inner tuition. What is tuition? The cost of gaining knowledge. So the inner cost of gaining knowledge. It's bravery, isn't it? You have to be brave. You have to pierce through the fucking portal to hell. Alright? Don't use a 6-sided code, use a 5-sided code. The church gives you all this shit over the pentacle, but they ask you to repent. Haha. There's another one. Adaptation. Well, it's more like, it's the difference between watching and participating, I suppose. How's that song go? I hope you dance, and if you get the choice, sit it out or dance. I hope you dance. I don't know who the fuck makes that song, but it's stuck in my head, and it's strangely applicable. So, until I don't see any of you do. I feel some of you watching. I have a couple psychic people who watch these, and I can feel them. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the future.